Hello and welcome to the Go Anteater podcast. I want to welcome everyone today. Today we have another guest coming to talk and give us a few stories. His name is Garrett. He's been working with us for a bit, and he's kind of like he works in our mechanical department, and he kind of bounces around helping wherever he can. He's also got an electrical license. While we're not an electrical at this time, it's nice to have that where you have multiple different tools that you can bring to the table. But welcome. Thank you for coming onto the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, let's have some fun with it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Give me a story that speaks out to you while you were out in the field. Something that's crazy, funny, any of the above.
A good story? Well, you may want to sit down.
Yeah.
So, I lived in New Mexico, the state of New Mexico, for about 3 years. And I'm from the Dallas area originally, but we moved up there in 2013. And the last 3 years we were there, I found a local electrician who really needed a hand, just a hand. And he is a small little ski resort town, so about 1,000 people.
Right.
Full-timers, a lot of vacationers. So it's a small town. Word gets around pretty quick, which can sometimes be a bad thing. But but anyway, he was a very well-known local guy, and he came to my sister one day. He knew my sister already, and he's like, "Where is your brother? Like, I need help. I need your brother." And she told me about it, and I was like, "What does he want me for? I don't know nothing." So, it was like, well, he said he needs help. He's been trying to reach you. And like, okay. And so thought about it for a couple days, slept on it. I called him. I first had to think, like, do I really want to get shocked for a living? So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest with you.
Right.
I did a little random odd jobs around town, lots of yard work, just things to, like, hey, let me come help you, whatever. I love to help people, But I really thought this could be a career. So I really thought about it, like, let's just see,
Right.
And so I called him, and I'm giving you a lot of backstory. So.
No, that's perfect. Love it. Love it.
I could talk for days. So. Yes, and I called him. I was like, "Hey, I heard you needed help." And he's like, "Yeah, you start tomorrow." So, it's like, you got it, And I was like, here's the deal, though. I know nothing. Like, I'm clueless. I can barely turn on a light switch, okay? So he's like, that's fine. I'll teach you from the ground up. I was like, okay, cool. And so that's how I got into the job,
Okay.
And I had a moment. I was like, is this really what I want to do, as a career? Thought about it for a couple weeks. Like, is this really what I want to do, And then we got busy, so I thought of something, I didn't have time to think about it anymore. But anyway, fast forward to not too long before we moved back to Texas. When I say we, I mean my family. We all went up there together, and we all came back together. That's a whole nother story. I may have to tell you some other time. But yeah, we were doing a job. Again, this is kind of tucked in the mountains. We lived in a ski resort. So we're in like this deep valley, nothing around for miles. You're just surrounded by beauty,
Right. Right.
Just awesome. They call it the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, northern New Mexico, just south of the Colorado border.
Gotcha.
So we were up on a job way up on a mountain trail. Like, you need a 4x4 to get to it. These people from California were building a horse stable out there.
Okay.
And I think it was going to be like a touristy, what do you call them? Like just a touristy horseback riding experience type of thing,
Okay. Okay.
Big chunk of land that they bought, and they were going to build a big stable with a barn dominium on the second story. And I ended up leaving before we could finish it, so I haven't seen the finished product. But we were going to run power out there. And of course, it's out in the country,
Right.
So we had to run conduit from where his building was going to be all the way down to the closest what do you call it? The transformer. You know those big green boxes you see?
Right,
those
right.
are the transformers.
Okay.
Well, the closest one, long way away, you know?
Not convenient at all.
Which means the wire gets bigger and bigger. The conduit gets bigger and bigger. It had to have been a 4-inch conduit, I think.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, yay, you know? And the wires were going to be huge. But anyway, so you have to glue all the conduit together, kind of like plumbing pipe. And it was going to be a long run. So I was doing the gluing.
Right.
So one piece at a time. Then my boss was carrying the pipe down this trench. It was all going to be laid into I believe a 2-foot deep trench, if I remember right. So which was already dug all the way down, long trench, you know. So I'm gluing each stick together as he's dragging it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done, you know. And he's getting to where I couldn't see him anymore. He was so far. I think I went through 2 cans of glue, you know, which is a lot, like those big ones.
Yeah, that's a lot of glue.
You know, and they finally get not quite to the bottom, but it went downhill a good ways to get to that transformer. And I hope he's listening. It's such a good story. It even made the news, but the local news. But they get almost to the bottom, not quite there, like maybe a few more sticks worth, 20-foot sticks. So maybe 50, 60 feet or something left. Well, they ended up and again, I can't see him way down there, you know. So I'm up at the top waiting, and I had a buddy feeding me the sticks to glue, you know. It was all a train, you know. Well, he just stopped. And what's cool about that conduit is you can actually talk to each other.
Oh, wow.
Like if you speak into the opening, he'll hear you on the other end. It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
You know, so we could talk to each other. Of course, we had phones anyways, but
it's more fun though.
Yeah, it's more fun, definitely.
Exactly.
You feel like a kid, you know?
Exactly.
So he's stopped, and one of my other coworkers goes down there to see what's going on, and it's a good walk, you know. Probably a good 10, 15-minute walk.
Oh, wow.
You know, going downhill on the rough terrain, you know. And it was cold. It was attempting to snow, you know. It was pretty cold. All I had on was a hoodie, like a goofball, you know. And we got a problem, you know. And it's like, okay. And it's like, bring a Sawzall, you know. So, like, okay. So me and my other coworker, so I had 2 coworkers and my boss and me. So we walk down there, and they didn't even catch it at first. They didn't realize what it was. There's something in this trench that's keeping us from continuing. They thought maybe at first it was a big dirt pile that fell back in, because you know it's all up in a pile up on the surface. It must have fell back in. No, it wasn't that. They started noticing that it was breathing.
Oh no.
It was breathing. There was a beautiful bull elk stuck in this trench. A bull elk, not a female, a bull. So he had the big, beautiful antlers, you know, and I don't know if y'all have ever seen one in person. They're as big as a horse.
Yeah, they're huge.
And then add that, you know, a deer is, you know, a little thing, you know, which we had plenty of those too. We had everything, turkeys, you know, raccoon, everything, bear, you know, mountain lions, Sasquatch, you know, whatever. Beautiful guy. I have pictures of it. He looked like a trophy size, you know. And
wow.
I'm no hunter. I don't think I could do that, but gorgeous guy, you know. And he was stuck in there, kind of in a fetal position. But that trench it was big enough for us to get in it, maybe about something like that. What, 2 to 3 feet?
Right.
Well, his antlers are so wide out, he can't get out of it. Like he's down in that thing. He can't get out of it, poor guy. So it's like, start digging. You know?
All right.
So and there were tree branches all stuck in there, so we started cutting those out, and then here came the cavalry, you know. We had the contractor who was building the home. He showed up. He's like, what is going on? He happened to be a firefighter, too. I hope he's listening. Great guy. I miss him. He showed up, started helping. And then an excavation crew
Oh man.
eventually showed up. Eventually. They took a while. Living in the middle of the mountains, it's not like the Dallas area. It may take a while for any kind of first responder or law enforcement to show up. I called my brother, who was a sheriff's deputy at the time, for the county. I was like, hey, what do we do? You know, and he's like, you need to call Game and Fish, you know, a game warden.
Right, right.
Well, the closest, like, okay, call non-emergency. It's not an emergency, you know? So I called them, and he was like, man, it's going to be about an hour before I get out there.
Oh, geez.
Like, he told us, like, just start digging, you know? And I was like, okay. And so we had shovels and, you know, small shovels, whatever we could. We called an excavator with a backhoe. He showed up way later, but we're trying to get this poor guy out. You know, he's stuck down there, can't move. Eventually, we get his head pretty free, and he can move around a little bit. You know, and eventually, yeah, he starts slowly, but with shovels, it's gonna take a while because it's deep and it's pretty wide, and it was cold, so the ground was really hard. You know, and eventually, he could kind of get up, but he was so stiff. His legs were so limp. And there's a policy up there. If they have a broken leg, they have to put it down. Oh. You know, and I'm actually not too sure why. Don't ask me why. It's sad, but like I don't think it's broken. I think he's just really stiff. You know, he's trying to get up. He's like kind of kicking. You know, again, he's as big as a horse, so. You got to be careful. They and it was a male. Oh yeah. They can get a little challenging. Yeah, a little dicey. You got to be careful and they have a weapon right here. You know? Exactly. So, but eventually he's able to move, and the backhoe finally showed up. He dug out, trying to be careful. Don't hit him, you know. And he scooped out just enough he could get out, but he could kind of stand up, but he was again just like so limp, couldn't move. I'm sure he was confused, like, what is going on? He was kind of getting a little combative, and we were like, whoa, okay, we're just trying to help, you know? So, but eventually he got out, and I got some great pictures, and there's like a 20-minute video of us trying to dig. Honestly, we didn't do a whole lot. The backhoe really saved him. But what else are we going to do?
Do what you can, right?
Did what we could, you know? He eventually was able to walk around. He walked over a little ways and laid back down. I think he was okay. We never saw him again. And it was like, go play, have fun, you know. Who knows how long he was in there. What they're really good at, though, is jumping over barbed wire fences, and they get them all tangled up. I've helped fix a few of them before when I was up there, which is not the easiest press, especially when it's cold. But they miss it. Deer too. They miss it, and it gets all like kind of twined up, or you know. And it was right by a fence. I think he just missed it and fell into it. That's what we think.
Yeah, you know? I mean that makes sense.
Then we eventually finished the job. As we got there probably around 8. We didn't finish with him until about 1. You know, it's cold. It's trying to snow. I'm starving, you know. But they're like, Garrett, record. So honestly, I didn't do a whole lot, but they took my video, and the Albuquerque News played it. Oh, wow. So it was pretty cool. Hey. It was definitely probably the most memorable. It doesn't really have anything to do with electrical. Kinda, but yeah. I thought it was really cool, you know, living in the mountains. You don't really see that here in the DFW area. If you do, it's take a picture of it, you know. But I got lots of cool wildlife stories that don't relate to electrical, but yeah, I got some cool stories living in New Mexico, definitely. Oh, yeah. But that was definitely a fun one. That wasn't too long before we moved back to Texas, so maybe around a year or something like that. You know.
Gotcha. Well, so yeah, you mentioned, you know, you have a handful of wildlife stories. One of the things that growing up in the pest control business, I've seen a few times where you got a squirrel, a raccoon, or even rodents that are trying to mess with electrical things that they shouldn't be.
Yes.
And it doesn't really end that well for them sometimes.
No.
Have you experienced anything like that going through the day-to-day?
A few times that I can think of. There was one time, it was either a remodel or just a service call. I can't really remember. But I was taking apart a light switch, just a regular wall light switch,
Right.
just like that one. Not that you can see it. But I was taking it apart, unscrewing it, and I'm always careful. When we're doing a service call, you do need to leave the power on.
Yeah.
Because you might have to troubleshoot. You're like, is it actually getting power? Is it getting proper voltage? All that good stuff. So I do leave it on for just a minute. So you see me carefully grab it, don't want to get shocked because that's happened a few times. It's not fun. So carefully grab it where it is safe to grab, and out comes this little brown blob,
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And this poor little mouse, teeny tiny little guy, yeah. He bit onto one of the wires and he was gone. Who knows how long he was there, but it was down to the little skeleton.
Oh, man.
It's like, oh my gosh. Poor guy.
Oh, man.
It was pretty gross. So I gave them a new switch, definitely. A new light switch. It might have been a remodel. I can't really remember, but he didn't stand a chance. But it's just crazy because if you don't know, those switches and wall plugs, they're sitting inside of a little plastic box, sometimes metal, a little box shaped kind of like that. And all the wires sit back in there. Well, he got in there somehow, and usually in the back of the boxes, there's a tiny little knockout.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue how he got in there, but a teeny tiny little mouse, but still the hole is...
They have a collapsible rib cage, so you'd be surprised how rodents can get into things. They just fold inwards.
Every day.
Oh yeah, but no,
that's
yeah,
insane.
collapsible
These were
rib cage.
little guys. They're almost kind of cute, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can I have one?
Yeah.
But I don't know how he got in there, but he was a goner.
Oh yeah. Well, that's not the pest control that we would ever provide. That is just part of the day-to-day that you see out in the field. Rodents, anything like that, get curious when they see wires, and so we've seen it come across, a handful of times doing some clean-outs and stuff like that. So
right. I did some research, and now that I'm in a pest-related business, it's fascinating to learn about the other services we do. I want to learn as much as I can. I don't think I want to do that, but I like to learn about it. I don't care for bugs all that much. I'd rather get shocked.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? But anyway, I researched. They like to grind their teeth on hard objects, I guess.
They do.
And
that's how they sharpen them.
Electrical wires is a good thing for them, I guess. So, and it seems to attract them that way. Well, I've come into crawl spaces before, and I couldn't tell you how many chewed up wires I've seen where it's exposed. Very, very dangerous. We have to tell the homeowner, hey, you got a problem.
Right.
And I've happened to see like a kind of a loose, wasn't loose, but like just a horizontal wire underneath. It wasn't going through studs or nothing. It was kind of hanging a little bit. Well, there was a pretty good sized pack rat who was hanging on to one before.
Oh, jeez.
I think he did the same thing. Yeah. It was pretty gross. So down to the skeleton, and it's like, oh my gosh, but they had tons of them. This person lived way out in the mountains. You could scream and nobody would hear you. Pretty kind of scary to think about.
Yeah,
but,
just a little bit.
Well, you got to see it. It's such a beautiful area.
Oh,
I don't blame them. They're surrounded by nature, but I don't know if I'd want to be that far from town.
Right.
And, but yeah, they had a big pack rat problem. These were big guys,
well fed.
And very well fed.
Yeah.
They had a triangular body. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
That's only rodent stories I can think of. I've been swimming in spider webs before too, and I'm surprised I handle it so well. My brother wouldn't. I hope he's watching. But and now he's an electrician.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm surprised I handle it, but honestly, I think to myself, I got to do it. It's
Right.
part of the job. I have to get underneath there. There's only been a couple times I was like, I can't do this. It's a little too dangerous, you know. There's always a way to get something done, though, with electrical. But yeah, I've seen a bug or two, a rat or two, and a snake or two. So,
Well, I appreciate it. Those are great stories. Definitely.
I'm sure I have more, but
Well, we'll have to
got it.
have you come back and do another
Yeah,
episode.
yeah,
This
let's
was
do it.
fun. And then, so last thing I just want to ask: so what wakes you up in the morning to come to work? I mean, you come to ABC, you work here, but like, what do you like about ABC?
Well, do you want to hear that answer or what gets me up in the morning?
Either. You can do either.
Well, somebody's got to make coffee, so
Yeah.
I don't have a choice. I got to get. I live alone. I have to make it. So, what I like about ABC, what I love about ABC, is right off the bat. It seems I've been here not quite a year yet. January will be a year, but everybody has been so friendly, you know. I mean, you get the fun, playful hazing and all that. That's normal.
Oh yeah.
But like any of these guys and girls, they'll do anything for you. You know, they'll give you the shirt off your back. Your dad has been awesome. All of the managers have been awesome. You know, it's just been really cool. And I mean, when I moved back to Texas almost a year ago, I started shopping for jobs, and I saw an ad on Facebook. Accidentally, you know how creepy Facebook is.
Oh, yeah,
they listen.
always
They're
listening.
listening to us right now.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna start getting pest ads now. So but anyway, it knew that I was looking for jobs, and I got a Facebook ad about ABC hire. I wasn't even following ABC, or I haven't liked their page. I knew who they were from years ago. I think I vaguely remember them being on my baseball jersey once upon a time, the little logo.
Right.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I knew about them, and I saw an ad, and it said they were having a hiring event sometime last year. Sadly, I didn't feel very good, so I didn't go to the hiring event, but I applied online anyways. And I saw looking for plumbers, HVAC. What else do we do? Handyman,
Yeah, right.
pest, pool. We do everything, you know?
Oh yeah.
But I always remembered, I thought they were a pest business. That's weird, but I also saw electrical on there. I was like, well, let's see what happens. you know?
Right.
So, again, I didn't feel very good, so I'll just apply online, see what happens. Applied online, filled out a million questions, you know, and I think a survey and all that. And 2 days later, I got an email about an interview. I was like, I almost missed it. I get bad. I don't check my email every day. Sorry. But I caught it, and there was even like a follow-up email to have like, oh my gosh, you know, like, I'm so sorry, you know. And I got a call from one of our HR guys, and he said something kind of strange. He's like, how do you feel about being a salesman? I said, what? I have a tiny bit of sales experience back in New Mexico. That's another story. But I guess he saw that on my resume.
Right.
I was like, that's not what I was going for, but we can talk about it, I guess. You know, it's like, I'm here to be an electrician, you know. And he's like, okay. And then I'm going to have you have another interview with another manager, you know, and him next door. And he barely let me talk. And he was telling me what the job is, what I'm going to be doing. He's like, I want you here. Like we're getting, like, okay, you know. He was like, we're going to have a third. No, he didn't say that, but he's like, I want you. I'm going to see what I can do. I was like, okay. And a few days go by, and I get a call from that HR guy I just mentioned. He's like, hey, you're going to have a third interview with another manager. I was like, oh, okay. cool. And this happened to be the plumbing master who I talked to. And he's like, yeah, just consider yourself hired. I was like, okay. And again, we did not provide an electrical service or electrical department, but they made a cool deal with me. They were like, how do you feel about being like a plumber helper, an HVAC helper, a kind of go-to guy for the meantime? I was like, that sounds awesome. It's in my nature to help.
Right.
I don't care what it is. Again, not so much the bug side. We can put that away, but I love to help people. I like to be needed. It feels so good, especially in New Mexico. And I am an electrician. That's what I know, but I'm willing to help whoever needs it. Just give me a call if you need help. So ABC has been awesome about that. Like, just keep Garrett busy. Give him something to do. And maybe eventually we can get an electrical department going. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm learning to be a plumber. I'm fixing to get an apprentice card. I already got an HVAC apprentice deal. So maybe eventually I'll have several licenses.
Right.
I need a bigger wallet, I guess. Yeah. So I was like, hey, I love learning new things, and they helped me get my electrical test all set up. They helped me with that. Passed it on the first try.
There you go.
It was a little stressful, but I got it. But yeah, ABC has just been awesome about that. And again, the people, man, I don't see myself anywhere else. Everybody's just been so friendly, welcoming, like, hey, come over to my house and help me with something. You got it, give me a call. I'm bored. So that's definitely what I love about it. And I think I found a good home. Definitely.
Makes me glad to hear that. And that's the same reason why I wake up to come to work every day is it's the people here.
I look forward to it.
Same.
And I've been getting up early at 5:30. I know that sounds crazy, but I work at a pretty cool place, At least I think so. It's been awesome so far. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, well,
always willing to learn more too.
Well, hey, just keep you pass that around. And we'll just keep throwing more and more licensing at you to get.
Yeah. Keep me away from the bugs. Though.
Yeah, we could do that.
No
we
interest.
Could do that.
Yeah,
we could do that. But thank you very much for being a part of the podcast
no
today.
problem.
Really appreciate it. Would love to have you come on again and do another story for us because I know you got more in there.
Yeah, I'll have to think about. I'm sure I've got a ton, but I just got to think about them. So.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, thank you again, and thank you for everybody that tuned in and listened to today's episode. Please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Look at all of our previous episodes that we have. There's a handful to offer, and there will be more to come. We like having this time to bring people in and let down the hair a bit, just talk about what we experience on the day-to-day and the job. So thank you for your time today. And,
this was fun.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And
I hope I didn't bore you.
No, absolutely.
I went a little longer than I thought. Sorry.
No, you did. You did great, man. It was great.
Thank you.
But yeah, please everyone stay tuned, and we appreciate it. Thanks everybody. Cheers.
ABC Home and Commercial Services.